Hello everyone, Kaoz here, and welcome to another old school RuneScape video. I've given you guys a few videos in the past going over essential items I think every OSRS account should have, whether it be for a set amount of time, or something that should find a permanent spot in your bank. Today, we expand that list, and we look at even more items you cannot live without in 2025 and beyond. Boys and girls, not a sponsor, but I just want to remind you that the 2025 Golden Gnome nominations are now live, and there's a brand new category for Best Guide Maker. If you've enjoyed any videos I've put out in the nearly 4 years of me being here on Old School RuneScape YouTube, I would appreciate a nomination, and I'm also nominating Falco AJ for Best New Old School RuneScape Artist. If either of us make it into the top 4, I'll be doing a 24-hour live stream, and if for some miracle either of us get a golden gnome, I'll be doing a 48-hour live stream instead. You can see the link in the description or go to the official Old School RuneScape website. I appreciate your support, and let's get into the video. Just like my 2025 tips video, the only disclaimer I have for this one is that if you see any repeated items, it's because I think they are just that important, and I don't want new or returning players missing out on them for the sake of not repeating a crucial item. This won't be the case for even a fraction of the list, so no worries about recycling content. That being said, let's get into crucial items for your OSRS account in 2025. We will start with not one item or a set of items, but multiple sets of items. I'll have this as a single segment for the video because it would be super lazy talking about each scaling outfit individually, and that is what we are going to start with. Some scaling outfits are absolutely necessary not only for the experience gains, but in the end game, many of them are used for master clues, and you don't really want to stop your progress to get an entire outfit for a single step. These outfits provide either bonus experience or powerful passive effects when equipped and training their respective skill. For experience boosts, we have the Carpenter outfit for construction, the Farmer's outfit for farming, the Pyromancer robes for firemaking, the Angler set for fishing, the Prospector armor for mining, and the Lumberjack clothing for woodcutting. All of them provide 2.5% bonus experience when wearing all 4 pieces, which doesn't sound like a lot, but will save a bit of time and money on your way to 99. The Graceful outfit increases run regeneration, the Hunter clothing lets you find rare creature parts more commonly, the Zealot robes have a 5% chance to save a bone when offered at an altar, the full Raiment of the Eye set has a 60% chance to provide more runes when rune crafting, the Smith's uniform speeds up anvil smithing by 1 tick, and has a chance to provide increased progress at the Giant's Foundry. And the Rogue equipment doubles all the loot you get from pickpocketing. All of those you will obtain naturally by training the skill on the respective activity like agility, firemaking, or runecrafting at Guardians of the Rift. Others are a little bit out of the way but still worth getting, like the Angler outfit from Fishing Trawler, the Farmer's outfit by doing the Tide Farm, and the Zealot robes from Shade to Morton, just to mention a few. Master clue steps for which you need full skilling outfits will have you equipping Graceful, Angler, Prospector, and Lumberjack. So, if you like doing master clues like me, these simply cannot be missing from your bank. If you want to go a step further and save some bank space, make sure to store all of them in your POH costume room and grab them whenever you need to. Let's continue the list with individual items, and a new set of items that makes it into the list are the Rat-Bane weapons from Scurious Pines. This may not make too much sense for late or end game players, but remember that Scurious is a great way to train your combat skills because of the accelerated experience at higher levels. To get even more experience, these weapons deal increased damage against Scurious, and you can one-tick the rats he spawns. When Scurious drops a spine, you can make a weapon yourself, or pay the guy outside the instance to make a mace, a short bow, or a staff. I would personally save these until you hit level 99 in your desired combat stat, because they will actually outclass other weapons that aren't things like a scythe or something more expensive. Doing this will speed up your gains, and help you reach your combat goals in 2025 much faster. If you want a group to go Scurious with, join our Discord and ask for the role. Let's include a repeated item because any old school RuneScape player should know that you simply cannot play without these, and we are talking about the iconic Barrows gloves. After full completion of a recipe for disaster, you'll be able to buy these from the Kalunimancer chest in the basement of Lombridge Castle. These should have a permanent spot in your bank even after you upgrade them. At the time of making this video, and probably for a long time, the Barrows gloves are the second best in slot item for their category. They are only behind the Ferocious gloves for melee, the Zyrite Van braces for ranged, and the Tormented bracelet for magic. I don't really see this item losing any relevancy anytime soon, and even with that best in slot items in my bank, I still have them to go to the Wieldy and for that Fallow step. Let's talk a little bit about Demonbane weapons. The Arclight is something I have mentioned in previous videos, but this item is seriously a godsend for players who can equip this fantastic weapon. To make the Arclight, you need to combine a Dark Light with 3 Ancient Shards, which will start you off with 1000 charges, and give you 333 per shard after that. With it, your damage against the demon type monsters will be ridiculous. Now, we have a 2-for-1 here, and although the Scorching Bow is absolutely busted at places like Krill Tsusaroth and the Abyssal Sire, you simply cannot go without eventually upgrading the Arc Light into the powerful Ember Light. If you thought the previous item was busted, the upgraded version puts things into overdrive. And if you can afford a Tormented Synapse, or you can get one from Tormented Demons, this is an item that will absolutely must have a permanent spot in your bank. Up next we have 3 items that are technically the same thing with better passive effects. One simply cannot train ranged without Ava's devices, starting at level 30 with the Ava's Attractor, upgrading it to an Ava's Accumulator at level 50, and finally an Assembler at level 70 for the second best in slot range cape in the game. These will automatically recover some of your ammo and make it a lot more convenient. Another item for ranged I have mentioned before is the Sunlight Hunter crossbow. You have seen this on my gear progression video and on my 180 tips and tricks video, and I mention it on one final time here to reiterate how good this item is. With Sunlight or Moonlight Antler Bolt, this is now the best weapon to train ranged from levels 66 to 75, up until you can equip a powerful blowpipe. I still keep one in my bank to kill a Raxor because of that quick attack speed. Let's include another 3-for-1. I now want to remind you of 3 items that will make prayer training more passive, and one that will save more supplies. First, after completion of the Hard Mauritania Diary, you'll receive an item called a Bone Crusher. If you charge it with Ecto tokens, and then in your inventory, monsters that drop bones will automatically be buried for passive prayer experience. Same goes for the Hard Current Diary, and the Ash Sanctifier has the same effect but for ashes instead. The Hard Diaries will give you half the experience per item, while the Elite Diary will provide the full experience. Additionally, you can combine a Bone Crusher with a Bone Necklace to make an item equipable. Finally, the Holy Wrench will give you more prayer points when you sip on a prayer restoration potion, and this is a great item to take with you on Slayer trips or if you're an Iron on a budget. The Rune Pouch is something you simply cannot live without in 2025 and beyond. It can be useful at every single scenario where you need runes in places like questing, scaling, and PVMing. If you're an unrestricted account, you can buy it at the Grand Exchange, or at the Last Man Standing shop, or at the Slayer shop. When you can do the Tombs of a Mascot, that Thread of Elidness will let you store 4 types of runes instead of 3. Something I forgot to mention on my 180 tips video from a few weeks ago is that if you open the bank and get the Rune Pouch in your inventory, you can right-click Configure to open the new Rune Pouch interface. Here, you can set 4 different setups for your preferred activities, and you can even customize the amount of runes to put inside. I have one for Ancients, one for TOB, one for Chambers, and one for Thralls. Time for a few items related to skilling. After completion of the quest Eyes of Gloughery, you'll be able to create a Crystal Saw shortly after the quest. If you're new to the game, this item will give you an invisible plus a 3 level boost to your construction level, letting you build things not accessible to you. The catch is that this only works for furniture, and you can't use this effect on decorations for your garden. The saw has 28 charges, or 56 after completion of the Medium Western Diary, and it will consume 1 charge every time you build something above your required level. This means that it is not really recommended to use for training, since you will run out of charges rather quickly. I recommend using it for high-level POH furniture that's absolutely crucial, like an Ornate Pool of Rejuvenation, Crystal Portal Nexus, Ornate Jewelry Box, and the Occult Altar, just to mention a few. Of course, it wouldn't be a Kaoz OSRS video without mentioning something related to runecrafting. Something kinda mandatory nowadays on your way to 99 is a little bit of Guardians of the Rift for the Raiments of the Eye, the Abyssal Lantern, but most importantly, the Abyssal Needle. Side note, whoever thought about adding normal needles to the possible loot should definitely be fired from Jagex. In the past, you would only be able to make the Colossal pouch after level 56 crafting and 85 rune crafting. With a recent update, you can make it at level 25 rune crafting, and the cool thing about it is that it will scale up according to what the best regular pouch you're able to use at this level. This means that, for example, at level 50, the Colossal pouch will be able to carry 9 essence from the large pouch, 6 from the medium, and 3 for the small one, for a total combined of 15 essence with a single inventory spot at level 50. For agility, we already mentioned the graceful outfit, but we are instead moving to the Hallowed Sepulchre. If you're able to do the quest The Sins of the Father as soon as possible, one of the newest agility training methods is now the best experience per hour as early as level 52 when you're able to take part in this activity. From floors 1 to 4, you'll need to loot chests in order to obtain hallowed marks and get your hands on some goodies. In my opinion, you should obtain the hallowed tools in this order. The hallowed ring to nullify any damage in case you run into traps, the hallowed grapple since the crossbow obstacle is the most punishing if you fail, the focus, the symbol, and then the hammer. I say hammer last because in my opinion, it's the slowest type of obstacle to go through to loot chests, but once you have them, your experience here will be much smoother on your way to that expensive Ring of Endurance. Next one is an item that just by getting it will give you tons of Herblore experience, and will make training the skill much better. If you're crazy enough to get the reagents pouch from the Mastering Mixology shop, you can store 26 secondary ingredients inside to make 26 potions per inventory instead of 14. This will mostly be useful for post 99 experience and Ironman, and I would say that out of all the items we have seen so far, this one is the least useful, but still pretty convenient. Another item that falls in a similar category is a costume needle. After completion of Death on the Isle quest, talking to the person in the basement will award you with this item, which acts as a needle with infinite thread. After God knows how long, we are now able to make that extra Dragonhide body for just a little boost in experience per hour, and honestly, it's one of the coolest items Jagex has added in recent memory. Up next, I recommend the Eternal Slayer Ring. If you're an Ironman without an eternal gem drop from superior monsters, I'm sorry, but this will definitely help for some motivation. With this rare item obtained from your Slayer tasks, and by unlocking the perk called Ring Bling, you'll be able to make your own Slayer rings out of enchanted gems and gold bars. If you have an Eternal gem though, you'll be able to make an Eternal Slayer ring. This item features great to teleport to Slayer locations like the Stronghold Slayer dungeon, the Slayer Tower, the Fremennik dungeon, and much more. Not only do I keep it in my bank to take me to these spots if I fancy a chill Slayer task, but it's also a great item to take me to specific locations if I'm doing a master clue. I believe some elite clue steps can benefit from these teleports, but I don't have many elite completions. Let's mention 2 for Hunter. With the addition of Valamor and the Hunter Guild, by taking part in Hunter Rumors, you'll be able to get your hands on any of the 3 tiers of the Quetzal Whistle. The only difference between these items is the amount of charges that they can hold, and these are used to signal the Quetzal to take you to the Hunter Guild wherever you are. If you ever run out of charges, take a different amount of animal meat to the person on top of the tree, and right-click Recharge for him to take the meat and recharge your whistle. The cool thing about it is that you can simply buy the enhanced and the perfected whistle blueprints on the Grand Exchange, or you can default to getting them from Hunter loot sacks, and even asking for them at the guild after a certain amount of rumors. The other item that makes Hunter much better and will save some bank space is a Huntsman kit. One quick thing before we continue, if you watched my 180 tips and tricks video, I claimed that if you put the Hunter outfit inside the backpack, you would get the passive effect as if you were wearing it. But that is not true. I remember something being said about it on release, and that it worked similarly to the Forestry kit and the Clothes pouch. Mistakes aside, the Huntsman kit is able to store a whole bunch of Hunter related items like the Hunter outfit, Hunter cape, many of the Hunter clothes like Larupia, Grahak, and Kayat, and of course Hunter essentials like a teasing stick, noose wand, and box straps just to mention a few. Oddly enough, you can't store a knife, which is a little confusing since you need a knife for some activities, but you can already store so many things that this is not a big deal. Let's move on to mining. You can get the gem bag at the Motherlode mine with a humble amount of golden nuggets, and this will be useful for a few things. First, if you go on a Slayer trip and you're really struggling for money, you can fill the bag during your trips. And second, gemrock mining is pretty decent, so by having this item on your inventory, you'll be able to profit just a little bit from your gains. I still have one in my bank as a max player to use it from time to time. This next one is not really an item, but something you should definitely consider unlocking. Before the gem bag, but after the big sack in the Motherlode mine, you should unlock both the upstairs area and the hopper up there, which is a recent addition. This will naturally increase experience per hour because you're not going downstairs too much, and I really wish this would have been a thing when I was training to 99. If done properly, the Goldsmith Gauntlets provide the best smithing training method in the entire game for upwards of 360k. After completion of the quest to Family Crest, taking the gauntlets you get as a reward to the NPC at the entrance of the Alcarat mine will turn them into Goldsmith Gauntlets. And these should absolutely find a permanent spot in your bank before you hit level 99. The passive effect of this item makes it so you get a little over 2.5 times the smithing experience when smelting gold bars at a furnace as long as you're wearing them. Combined with the blast furnace in Keldegrim, and in tandem with the ice gloves, smithing turns into one of the fastest and cheapest 99s in the game. The smithing and the maxscape will give you passive effects of the gauntlet as if you were wearing them, so with it you only need to wear ice gloves at the blast furnace. Another quick one for fishing, Temperos was one of the best additions to the game to make fishing not so terrible, and one of the possible rewards from this activity is a cool item by the name Fishing Barrel. As the name implies, you're able to store up to 28 fish here, and when filled up, your inventory will start filling up instead. One of the most popular places to use this at is the Karamban fishing spot south of Musa Point at Karamja, and places where fishing is incredibly slow like anglers or sharks, just so you can AFK twice as long without much input. If you do temporos, pray to the lords that you don't end up being one of these losers that goes dry on super simple item to obtain, because it will provide great benefits to your account. You may obtain another pair of gauntlets after the Family Crest quest, and something I have mentioned in many videos are the cooking gauntlets. This is something you can definitely ditch at 99 cooking because a cape will make it so you never burn food, but even after 99, the cooking gauntlets are one of the items Fallow asks for during Master Clues. They are pretty easy to obtain, but better for them to be in the bank. A similar item to the fishing barrel is a log basket. Despite forestry being one of the most confusing updates in a long time, and with as many tweaks as terrible suggestions on the old school RuneScape subreddit, the log basket can be attached to the forestry kit to store logs, and double your woodcutting trips in case you want to sell your logs, or if you're an iron account. I personally have one, but I'll be honest and say that whenever I train woodcutting, I just drop all my logs, but this could come in handy for you. And finally, we get into farming. Another item I've mentioned before is the magic secateurs, and this is something you absolutely must have at all your farming trips, because it will naturally increase your yield and give you even more profit out of your farm runs. You can equip it or have it in the inventory, and it's extremely easy to obtain even for low levels who have to fight a weak quest boss during Fairy Tale Part 1. And for the last one, I have to give a big shout out to the bottomless compost bucket. When you add any type of compost to it, which is not actually bottomless and has a limit to it, one bucket of compost will give you 2 charges, and you can add as many as you want for you to forget about having to either buy compost or take care of your compost bins. This is an item I always use on my farm runs for videos, and will save you a ton of money in the long run. So boys and girls, we come to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed and you learned something useful. If you did, or if you didn't, tell me what your number 1 must-have item is in old school RuneScape and why, and if you include the term RSN and your username in your comment, you'll be entered in our weekly bond giveaway, for which we will pick a winner on Friday's stream. A huge shout out to the people you see on screen for deciding to pledge to this channel with a monetary subscription, which helps me fund this project and support my family in a third world country. If you want to be included with this list of legends, click the join button below to see all the possible perks in the videos, in the live streams and in the Discord for a monthly fee. In the next one, I will go over my favorite RuneLite plugins I cannot play without in 2025 and tell you how to set them up properly with a live explanation. For now, I hope you have an amazing day, have an amazing week, and I will see you then. Peace.